Welcome to our very first Wednesday Wisdom. I'm Dr. Lisa Andrews, and I am very pleased to welcome Lisa Spinelli, who on my Zoom is to my, let's see, oh, she's waving. There she is. So it's the Lisa show today, for those of you old enough to know who that is. And so today's program is called Using LinkedIn to land a new role, among many other things I know Lisa's going to talk about. Just a few housekeeping items. We are recording today. This program will be available to you on our YouTube channel once it's cleaned up. We'll put that out on YouTube. Also, if you have questions as we're going through the program, please place them in the chat. And then when the program is over, I'll be helping Lisa field those questions. I'll be feeding them to her, and she'll be answering those. And so allow me to introduce you to Lisa by reading her bio. So Lisa Spinelli is a sought-after leadership and career coach, workshop facilitator, and learning content developer. She is certified by the International Coaching Federation, the ICF, as an associate certified coach. Lisa is the chairwoman of the George Mason University Coaching Alumni Committee. She was the creator, manager, and facilitator of the ATD Troops to Trainers workshop at Fort Belvoir in partnership with the USO Pathfinder group. Sorry, I lost my place because I was looking at the waiting room. I need a producer. The host and creator of the podcast, The Accidental Trainer, manager and producer of the ATD Career Center, and the main author and editor of the book, Teachers to Trainers, and author of the workbook, Take Charge of Your Career. She has spoken and facilitated workshops on career development topics, such as career fit, Clifton Strengths, effective communication, EQ 2.0, influence and persuasion, job transitions, leadership coaching, networking, trends in R&D, L&D, and more. And prior to coaching and her L&D work, Lisa was a journalist and communications professional for 15 years, rising to a leadership level. She is a military spouse, thank you for your service, and has worked in nonprofits, tech companies, mass media, startups, and healthcare organizations. Lisa has been published in news outlets, including the Associated Press, Fast Company, Mental Floss, the Houston Chronicle, and the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And most recently, she is the host of Job Hunt DC, a brand new show in our area, which airs on WDME, MeTV here in Washington, D.C., Sunday mornings at 5 and 5:30 a.m. It's just coming out here in October. And on the October 8th episode, I'm actually her guest. So and it's going to be online as well. And so I will drop the online link in the chat at some point during the presentation. So without further ado, take it away, Lisa. And thank you for being
Lisa. Here. I didn't know you were going to read the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, this sounds like it's going to take forever. Okay, so I am going to bear with me as I share my screen with you all. I will open up the chat. Oh, actually, I don't think I can. So I'm going to leave that to lovely Lisa Andrews. But yes, as she noted, today we are talking about LinkedIn. We're talking about how to land a job on LinkedIn. And, you know, a lot of people, when they're thinking about LinkedIn, they're really thinking about it just for the jobs. I'm going to go over a little bit more than just how to search for a job on LinkedIn. Really important that you use LinkedIn if you are looking for a new job, or if you're just a professional anyways and, you know, going about your life. Am I sharing the presenter notes, or I think I'm sharing the wrong screen, aren't I? Can somebody
let's see, I can actually see the next slide preview.
Yep. I'm sorry. I am sharing the
No
wrong
problem.
screen. Let me share the right screen. Okay, there we go. Now you can see it. I believe, right? The right screen. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. So LinkedIn, why is LinkedIn important? We're going to go over just really briefly on that. Then we're going to go over how to use it as a research tool and how to use it as a networking tool. Briefly go over all-star profiles, and if anybody is willing to share their profile, we might be able to take a peek and do a little workshopping on that. And then we will just briefly go over thought leadership. So just quick question, how often do you all use LinkedIn? And maybe you can put it into the chat. Maybe Lisa, oh, I can pull up the chat. Daily, Cecilia says daily. Great, a few times a week, daily, awesome. Yes, quite frequently. Great. Okay, that's so good to hear, because honestly, getting on it at the last minute when you're looking for a job is like, it's really tough to just jump on at the last minute and then start developing out your network. So it's good to hear that you guys are being pretty proactive here. Okay, so she did a huge intro into me. I don't need to go into all the things, but I will just touch on briefly. I grew up in Italy. I came to this country when I was about 17 years old. I do not have an accent. My mom is from Brooklyn. So, you know, sometimes the crayon, the mirror, the accent pops out in that way. But you can see my lovely family. And these are a few things that I'm proud of, including having the gumption to scuba dive with a bunch of manta rays in Hawaii. And let me tell you, even though they're gentle giants, I nearly peed in my pants, but we won't talk about that. Okay, quick poll for anybody who has Slido. You can just pop on there if you, well, you can just pop on anyway, slido.com, use that code, and you can let me know with that on there. I'm going to have to actually go to it on my phone since I'm sharing my screen. Let me know there if you have used LinkedIn mostly for networking, if you're using it for job hunting, what exactly you're using LinkedIn for. And I would, actually, I will pop over and pull up the Slido poll, because it is so fun to see that thing just moving around. Okay. Networking. We're seeing networking and job hunting. Okay, so not super surprising there. Love that. And that is really definitely what you should be using it for, because honestly, this is the biggest reason why LinkedIn exists. And so I can't stress enough using it as a networking tool. Why is LinkedIn important? Well, it's important for a ton of reasons. As you can see, the figures here, it is global. It's really all across different countries, industries. Recruiters are on here every day. You're going to have a recruiter or somebody as a hiring manager looking at and hiring people off of LinkedIn every 8 seconds. Now, this figure is a tiny bit old, but it's really important just to remember the power of LinkedIn, because 900 million users is nothing to sneeze at. So as a research tool, a lot of people use LinkedIn for networking, which is great, but a lot of people do not realize how much you can research on here. So of course you can research jobs. You can also research the health of a company. Right now, we're having a lot of companies laying off people. And I do know this because I work with an outplacement company right now as a career coach for people who are laid off. And we're not busy, I can tell you that. So lots of people coming through. And one of the ways that you can tell, I had somebody the other day, and this is, I'm not even kidding you, they were laid off 3 times in 18 months. So in order to avoid a situation like that, you can investigate a little bit on the company health, and that you can do on LinkedIn, but you can also do that, and I will tell you a couple ways that you can do that outside of LinkedIn as well. The company culture is another huge area that you can research. And of course, connections within the company, in the larger realm of your industry. We're going to go over a little bit on how to research new connections and old connections, and also how to reach out to recruiters on there. So jobs, of course, biggest thing that people are, one of the biggest things that people here are using LinkedIn for is to find job postings. So jobs are, you can, of course, as you see a screenshot here, go to the jobs tab up at the top, the little briefcase, click on that. You're going to see this pull down of my jobs, job alerts, demonstrated skills, and then some interview prep and other preparation materials that you can take part in. And one of the things that LinkedIn is using right now is this AI tool to recommend jobs to you, which is really helpful because if you're looking at different roles and you're clicking on different things, it's going to start pulling up things that have similar keywords, things that have similar titles, things that have similar industries. So that's going to be helpful in your job search. As you can see here, it also posts the recent job searches that I have created. And that's because I post every Monday about coaching jobs. Okay. So if you're seeing here that red arrow, that's just to help you again notice where to go to find the jobs. You can also type in any title or skill or company within the search bar. And then once you do type in something, you will see that the jobs are all, of course, popping up on that side. You could set an alert simply by clicking the top there. And of course, you can apply online. You're going to also notice that there is the possibility to filter by the date, the experience, the salary, the company, and now they also have on-site, remote. They also have other filters up there that you can even filter by company values, but there's not a lot of values actually that people have put into that feature. So it's a little bit tougher to actually get an accurate picture of that. Now, you might notice this easy apply button here. I am going to tell you a secret. Don't hit that button for the life of you. That I have been told time and time again by recruiters that unless you really are just hitting it for fun, for like, hey, why not? Maybe I'll just see what comes out of it. Then don't hit on that button because those are hardly ever even looked at. So don't use that unless you actually just really don't care if you get the job or not. You're just like on a whim. Another thing that you might notice is I have premium, so I can also see the recruiter. This is the person who posted the job. So if you have the premium level of LinkedIn, you can see the recruiters. You can also find out recruiters on here, and I will touch on that in a little bit here. But you could reach out to the recruiter who has posted this role, or you can find other recruiters on that work at the company. Once you have applied on LinkedIn, it basically saves your information so that you can easily apply again and again. I will tell you, though, that applying on LinkedIn and third-party sites are not the preferred way that people are hired. First, you go to internal hires. So that is people within the organization that they can move up or around into different departments. Then it's going to be company referrals. And that's where that networking piece is so key, especially within LinkedIn, to get a referral. And we'll be going over that in a minute. And then the next step is applying on the company website. So if you see a job on LinkedIn, the best thing that you can do is then see if that job, and you have no connection to the person, you're not working at that company, you have no connections at all that could be of any use to you for that role, but you're really interested in that role, go to the company website and then see if it's on their website. Because a lot of companies will have a careers section and they will look at those applicants first before they go to the third-party sites. So just a little tip on that. Also, when you're going to that briefcase button up at the top and it's pulling in all those searches, as you scroll down, you will notice that there are hiring within your network. There's a section called hiring in your network. And that's key because, as we just noted, those people are really looking for referrals before they're looking for online applications. So if you're seeing, oh, hey, I have 8 connections over here at True America, I could find one of them to connect with to offer me a referral. That's going to be so much more useful than trying to just click on here and apply. Also, a note is that if you apply online first and then you try to get the referral, sometimes that won't work because they actually have a separate referral application that the person within the organization has to put in for you before you actually apply online. So they might ask you afterwards to then apply online, but you have to reach out to your referrals first because there's sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes a whole separate system that they're using to refer you. So we all know Walt Disney. If you had a company in mind, or if you start researching some companies, then you could type in the name of them into the search bar here. And let's say I just pulled up Walt Disney because, of course, it's, everybody knows Disney. And if you wanted to, you could also click on this ranked on LinkedIn top companies. If you're actively looking for a new role, that is going to take you to a blog post from LinkedIn that lists all the top rated companies this year. And, that's helpful because it also breaks it out by how many are remote and why they picked them as a top company. So that's a really helpful blog post that they created. And it doesn't look like you can actually click on a lot of things here. If you have premium, you can click on this Insights tab, and this is where it's going to show you the company health. This is where it's going to show you in the last 6 months, Disney grew its employee count by 2%. In the last year, it was 4%, and year over year, it was 14%. That means Disney, even though it had a few layoffs recently, overall is growing. And of course, we know Disney owns, you can see the number of employees is over 100,000 here. So it's over 160,000. So it is quite a lot of employees. They have a lot of different companies and organizations housed under the Walt Disney umbrella. So while some areas might be experiencing some layoffs, overall, the company you can see is doing pretty well. And then in this Insights tab, you can also research, okay, well, if you're in media and communications, actually, that area is not looking like the best area. So if you're a media professional looking at Walt Disney, okay, maybe actually that's not the best place to be applying for a role because maybe that's not going to be experiencing less layoffs in the near future. But if you're, let's say, in operations, then maybe it's worth a shot to try to go over to apply there. Another thing that is very underutilized that I have seen from my career coaching clients is this, and maybe it's because it's not highlighted. It doesn't look like you can click on it, but if you actually click on the number of employees there, that is going to take you to a huge list of employees at that company. you can also then, you can see 46 different companies owned by Walt Disney. But, let's just say that I wanted to see anybody and everybody, or you could filter down by the different company. And then I want to see who I'm connected to. So I would click on that connections tab, and then I would hit first and second connection. That's going to pull up a number of people that I am either first or second degree connected to. And what that means is the first degree connection is the person that I know, that I've actually reached out to. I've connected with this person. Somebody asked if this is part of premium as well. This section with the employees is not part of premium. This is actually for anybody to use. The insights tab was for just premium, but the connections and researching the people at the company, that's for everyone. So anybody can do this. And once you pull up this great big list of people that you're first degree connected to or second degree connected to, and that second degree means they know somebody that I know. And so as you can see here, I just picked Anne. Anne here, she's connected to a few people that I am. And so I would reach out to one of them, ask them for a connection to this person. And if that failed, I would go to, the next person. The first person here is PJ. I know PJ really well, so I would reach out to him first. Then I would reach out to Murray. And then I would go down the line to try to get a connection within that company. And once you do make a connection, these are called informational interviews. What you really want to be discussing with them is not, hey, I want to work where you're working. Tell me about it. How can you help me? That's not that. Nobody wants somebody approaching them with an ask from a total stranger of, hey, can you help me, right off the bat. So you really want to get to know, this is a good way to get to know the culture of the company. It's also a good way to just get to know people in general. I know some people are not as extroverted as I am, but I enjoy meeting people all the time. And so I enjoy just reaching out to people every once in a while and being like, hey, tell me how you got where you are. What is it like to be doing your job? And so you could reach out to them, ask them for a few minutes of their time after you've gotten that introduction from someone you know, and then ask them some pointed questions on their journey, because a lot of people like to talk about themselves. I don't know if you noticed. So asking people to explain their history and how they got where they are is always a good way to open the door for further conversations, or that, drop at the last minute of, so if I really wanted to work at Walt Disney, what do you think I should do? And this way you can gain a little bit of insights. You also gain that connection. And so you'd be amazed to know that after just a 15-minute conversation, people are like willing to, maybe it's the referral bonus, I don't know, but they're willing to put your name in as a referral. So try to make those connections. And once you make those connections, don't just leave it there. Like, oh, had a 15-minute conversation. That was great. This person's going to do all the work for me from now on. You got to follow up, and you got to try to be connected, like on a for real level, rather than just what Adam Grant would call a taker level, like just asking for things over and over and over again. See what you can do. Maybe you can connect them to other people, help them out, ask them how you could help them out, really forge an actual connection. And so that goes back to that networking piece that we all talked about at the beginning that you all said you were using it for. So that's really where this networking piece comes in. You're getting connected to people, and you're getting suggestions of additional people you should be connected to. This is my screenshot of LinkedIn suggesting additional people to me. So you can see my connections up there. You can import your contacts from your Gmail or Outlook, even your phone. So you can directly input your contacts, and then it's going to suggest additional contacts. And the more you fill out on your profile, the more it will suggest like, oh, hey, this person went to UVA too, or this person also worked at the Boston Phoenix or whatever. So it'll it'll start suggesting additional people that might be of interest to you. So if you get over 500 connections, then you will actually be getting pulled up higher in the algorithm and the search results. Of course, if you buy premium, then, you know, LinkedIn just loves you. So they'll put you at the very top. And if you advertise with them and all of that, they'll just keep throwing you up higher and higher the more money you spend, of course. But so Chris here is a connection of mine. I don't know if you've noticed, but of course on LinkedIn, it's showing you updates from other people. Of course, your first degree connections. And then sometimes, this isn't the greatest example because I'm actually connected to JD as well. But if Chris, my first degree connection, comments or likes something that a lot of people are starting to like or comment on, then it will pop up in my feed. And even if I'm not connected with the other person that they are commenting on, it will pop up for me. So I could then, okay, you know, who else is Chris connected to? I'm gonna go and see. So I click on Chris's name. I see she has 500 plus connections. Might be part of the reason why she's popping up on my feed more. And once I click on those connections, I get all of her connections listed out for me here. And so let's say, hey, I'm kind of curious as to if she knows anybody in my area, or if she knows anybody that's a recruiter. And then you could type into that function, that search function up at the top there, a name or an area. You can see that there's different filters, different company filters. And then you can start to judge, okay, maybe Chris knows this person. Maybe this is a good person to know in my industry or my area, or somebody at a company that I'm really curious about. So that's another way to forge new connections. And you know, I don't think I touched on this, but you know, we did touch on the idea that networking really is huge part of gaining a new job. But I do want to stress that LinkedIn, of course, LinkedIn's a little biased, but they did have a research report a few years back that noted 86% of jobs were found through networking of one kind or another. So I just want that to really sink in. 86%. That is huge amount of jobs that are being connected to somebody who is hired because they either reached out, they made a new connection, or they used their current network. So that's huge. Just remember that if you're applying for jobs and you're going bananas online, yeah, please stop going bananas online if you're trying to apply for a job. Okay, Ursula here has asked, is it bad to hide your own connections? I don't think that it is a great idea to hide your own connections, because why wouldn't you want to broaden your network and help others? If you're not willing to help others to connect, then you shouldn't really be expecting that in return either. So I think share free and wide. If somebody asks you for a connection that you don't feel comfortable making, then you can just say like you're having a hard time getting in contact with that person lately, or you can just tell them straight out like, I don't really feel comfortable asking this person. You do what you got to do, but I wouldn't hide them from everyone. And, you know, that brings up a good point too, that a lot of people just kind of click on, yes, I will connect with you no matter if they know you or not. And I was very guilty of doing that for a while, and I have ceased to do that because of that. I don't want like a lot of people who I don't really know trying to connect with a bunch of people that I actually do know, unless there's been some kind of communication with me and that person now. And Amy wants to know, is premium worthwhile for a regular user? If you are somebody in the, you know, learning and development space, career space, yes. If you're somebody looking for a job, yes. If you're somebody who is not really looking for a job and you're just using it right now to kind of network and create thought leadership, then probably not really worth it at the moment for you. So that's just my 2 cents, and probably LinkedIn would say otherwise. Okay, another way to make new connections is, of course, groups. Now, I'm not a huge proponent of groups because a lot of them turn into a vehicle for people to sell their services, and they're self-promoting a lot. I will tell you that some groups are very worthwhile to join. So you just kind of have to gauge which ones after you join them. If you see that it's just a huge promotional vehicle for some people, then, you could exit out. But sometimes people will post jobs within the groups. And that could be for a myriad of reasons. Either they feel connected to that group, or perhaps they are at an organization that can't afford to post a job on LinkedIn. It's not cheap to post on these job search sites. So that might be also another reason that they post them on there. It's also good for just making those connections. Like, I'm a coach. I graduated from Georgetown University's coaching program. So I'm on that alumni group, and that group I have found very helpful, not just for like finding contract jobs and things like that, but also just connecting with other coaches and networking events and things like that. So are they worthwhile? Yes, they can be, but you do have to kind of judge which ones are turning into a self-promotional vehicle. Another way that you can find new connections is by using that search function at the top and just searching for titles, or searching for different areas. Like my area, career development, will pop up with a bunch of companies, and then I could filter by people or posts, even groups, companies, all different things to find new connections. So I'm gonna take a breather for a second because I need a sip of water. But I also want to know if anybody has any questions. I know we covered like a lot of things. So does anybody have any questions that they want to ask? You can put them in the chat if you have anything, and I will take them as they come. Okay. Oh, yes. So I'm just showing you here in the screen that I filtered by people. So then all of these people with the word career development popped up. And that is a way that I could get in touch with additional people. Okay, we've come to the All-Star Profile Challenge. These are all things that you need to be considered an all-star on LinkedIn. Of course, you need a profile photo. Photo really should be pretty close to your head. Should not be something that like your best friend took while you were out at a bar one night and you think you look really cute in that outfit or something. Nope. Put in a professional photo and try to be sort of close looking at the camera, because the eyes are the windows to your soul, and people want to feel like you're staring right at them when they look at you. You do need to have a background photo too. So a lot of people just kind of leave it that generic-y gray background. It's not the greatest. They have lots of ways that you can pop in stuff that you don't even have to like create from scratch. You can just even click on the little camera button or the pencil button, and it will take you to a bunch of templates that LinkedIn has. Something that reflects your role or industry is great. And then, of course, location, your industry, your education, and some experience. You need to have at least a little bit put in there for it to be considered an all-star profile, and adding in some skills and then a summary about yourself. It's kind of like that about you section. And if you add in 3 recommendations from people, that is going to increase your likelihood of being found, and also put you at the top of a list when recruiters are looking for people of your title. Okay, so a couple questions did pop in. Is showing looking for a job a good idea on your profile? So I think you're talking about that, like open to net or open or yeah, I think it's open to network, not network, or open to work or something like that. I don't know why the banner is escaping me, but yeah, I would say it all depends on your level. So if you are, let's say, a VP or a director level position, I would say that like it's going to hurt you really, but I have talked to a lot of headhunters and other VPs and CEOs who feel, I don't want to use like a bad word here or anything, but they feel like it's a little cheapy looking. So, while I don't think that it's really going to hurt you, I don't think that it maybe projects the level of caliber that maybe you necessarily want to project if you're at a VP or higher type of level. It's not to say that like, you know, mid managers and below or don't have great caliber of professionalism and in their career, but it's just what I have heard from other people in those roles, that they don't feel like they would want to put that on there, and that when they're looking for people, colleagues or hiring managers for them, they're not looking for those people. So that's just the 2 cents that I've heard. All right. Min says, if I've been out of the workforce for a while and I want to get back in, how should I list all of my volunteer activities? What about the big gap in the job history? Should I list it under experiences? Yes. If you have volunteer activities that are of a leadership level, then you can definitely put those in under your experiences. And it is, and I have seen this a bunch. I have seen a bunch of people putting in now employment gap, and then putting in, you know, why they've had an employment gap, or that they put in, you know, like that they are freelancing right now or something of that nature. And you can just even put in your own name as the company, and that's acceptable too. So yes, you can do a lot of different things there. And explaining the gap in your history, that's really up to you. You can, you know, put in as much information as you're comfortable with. Some people do put like, I was laid off during a sweeping layoff at the company, or some people put that they wanted to focus on their family. So, you know, it all just depends on your situation and how personal you really want to get and transparent. Olivia's asking about in groups. I've seen people sharing their resume and saying that they're looking for work. I don't recommend sharing your resume. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest reasons is just because there are so many people that you don't know who are out there. There have been, you know, identity thefts, of course, online. So it's not something that I would recommend putting your resume just out for everybody in the group to see. I would, and a lot of people don't know that nowadays you really don't want to put your address on there either, for also similar reasons. Also because of unconscious bias and a number of other things that we won't get into today. But don't put your address ever on LinkedIn or on your resume any longer if you can help it. And if you're putting your contact info on LinkedIn and then posting your resume for them, then just expect a lot of spam to start happening your way. I don't recommend that. Okay, and what should you include in the summary section? The summary section, I have 2 tips on that. If you're in a more creative or marketing type of role, make it a story, make it like your story, and put really like your journey in there, because that's interesting and creative and people will appreciate that. If you're more on like the technical side, you're a developer, you're a data analyst, keep it short, put in a bunch of your top skills that maybe are not within the different experience sections in LinkedIn. So you can just even bullet point it and then keep it nice, sweet, and short in the summary. You should put a little bit about, like, you know, who you are, where you're going, what you're interested in, things that wouldn't be completely evident within your experience. Just checking on the time. Okay. All right. How do I list recommendations? Okay, you don't list recommendations. You request recommendations from other people, and then they post it. It has an alert sent to you, and then you can approve or disapprove, sorry, those recommendations. So the recommendations are great because now people are using them instead of references when you're applying for jobs as well. But they're also checking them to see who has written a recommendation. If you've gotten a recommendation, you know, from the top-notch, let's say like the CEO at Walt Disney or something, then yeah, that's going to shine through. So, you know, you want to have recommendations of high caliber on there, but also if someone you're reaching out to is having trouble doing the recommendation or they're taking too long, you know, this is the same for references too. Sometimes you can just write it for them, send it to them, say, hey, you approve of this? Okay, great. And then have them just fill out the form with that and pop it over for your approval. And then that's a quicker way to get it on there. Okay, last question here from Whitney. For job search feature, it seems to ask for a specific job title, but I have found that job titles vary greatly. Yeah, you don't have to put in a title. You can put in anything. You can put, like you saw, I just put in career development. Yeah, it's going to pop up with a bunch of those titles, but you can put in keywords. You could put in career development and career center and Georgetown, or, you know, you can put in anything you'd like, really. You could put skills, keywords, industries, remote. You can even just put in remote and see what pops up. There's you can pretty much put anything in. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got all those covered. Is anybody willing to actually pop into the chat their willingness to share their profile, and then we can check out their all-star profile? Any brave souls out there willing to sacrifice themselves in front of the LinkedIn crowd? If not, that's okay. All right. Catbird. The catbird is up. All right, cool, catbird. Thank you. All right, so I am going to pull up and catbird, I might actually need you to send me your email or some kind of identifier, because I'm not sure if this will be enough for me to pull you up. Fleener bird.
I just sent you the link.
Oh, wonderful.
If that's
Thank
easier.
you. Okay. Thank you so much, catbird. Which I love, by the way, because we actually have a dog that we call Cat Dog, or a cat that we call Cat. Okay, here's Cat. Super cute. And she has a great photo. She has her background photo. So those are win-wins. She has her name up there. She also has a tagline, which is also great to have. Corporate strategy and operations. I might just make this a little bit more specific into what, like, industry or what exactly. I mean, it's kind of obvious that you're into the beauty realm, but you might want to spell that out in there. She has a summary here, which is the about. I would make this a little bit longer. This an enthusiastic and creative problem solver that thrives on the challenge to make things better. Has experience leading teams of internal and external stakeholders, implementing company-wide change, building relationships, and project management. Okay. Yeah, these are all great. I would definitely make it more of like a storyline. I would include maybe some additional keywords. I would also put maybe some things that you're super proud of. And we're going to go over this in just a second, but that whole like personal branding aspect, like what is it if somebody who is identical to your background applied for the job? What is it about Cat that like just stands out and beats everybody out of the water? Is it your ability to build these relationships, or is it, I mean, it sounds like you have a good relationship slant to you. Or is it more your project management? Is it more that you're really able to have this problem solving, like you're able to recognize problems and solve them? Nobody else really notices the problems that are happening. And then the
Can I ask
featured
a question, Lisa?
Oh, yeah.
As you go through
Yeah.
it? Sorry, and I volunteered myself because I don't think I've updated my summary in like since 2017. So it's time. And
Yeah.
so I figured this is a good opportunity. So my question is, the summary should be, I thought like the accomplishments and like a lot of the details should be more in the actual job descriptions, but I should include some of that in the about me, is what you're saying. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, I would use this section as kind of like your elevator pitch, if you will,
Cool.
like this is me, this is why I'm so awesome. And then you can either tell a whole story after the first paragraph of like why you're so awesome and highlight some of those key aspects or those key accomplishments because they might, okay, let's be real. Recruiters are not going to spend a lot of time on your resume or your LinkedIn. They're just going to pop in. So if you're repeating yourself, it doesn't matter. Actually, it's probably a good thing to repeat yourself. It's actually a learning tool that instructional designers and learning professionals use is repetition to smack it into your long-term memory. So
Cool.
anything that you can like keep bringing up again and again that is so wonderful about yourself is going to stick in there more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Sure. Great. And then you have these experiences, and now since 2017, you're able to also put in your skills. So that also kind of pops up and highlights in there the skills that you have gained or used that maybe people aren't garnering from just the titles or the quick, review that they would be doing. So that's also good to have. Great. You have education, licenses, volunteering, all of that is wonderful. And this skills section too, being endorsed is great. And then the recommendations, yeah, if you could just get that up to 3, then you would be doing really well. So thanks
Excellent.
for offering yourself up, Kat. Do you have
Thanks.
any questions?
No, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to go back to the presentation. Okay. I am not. Oh, sorry, I've lost you. Where are you, Zoom? I should be better at this. Nope. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so we went over the all-star profile. I've noticed a couple things popping up in the chat. Lisa Andrews says, don't forget to put your Georgetown education in there. And Amy says, there are a lot of skills, better than a few, or should we only include a few key skills? I would say max out your key skills. As many as you can put in, do it. Because when you're applying for jobs, especially on LinkedIn, if you this is a premium thing too, but it'll show you the key skills that you have and how it matches up. That's also going to be helpful when you're applying online with like an ATS, which is an application tracking management system. So they really want to have those keywords popping in. Okay, so really quickly, because I'm running out of time, I just want to show you a quick couple things about thought leadership and personal branding. This is my good friend, William Arruda. He is one of the foremost thinkers in personal branding, so he's completely brainwashed me. But I do agree, LinkedIn is a great vehicle for doing this. Some people have even foregone their websites just to have LinkedIn because it is just so much easier. Everybody's on there already. You don't have to contend with SEO as much. You can do all the things on there. So you'll notice that he has in his section here talks about hashtag personal branding, personal branding, motivational speaker, all those kinds of things. Those are things that anybody, doesn't have to be premium, can add to your profile as well, which is helpful in case somebody searches for a keyword that is one of the things that you talk about or one of the things in your industry. Now, a lot of people are, a bit nervous to post things and do that sort of stuff, but it is really helpful to do those things on LinkedIn because it's going to draw more people to you. And the more people are drawn to you, the easier you are to be found, the easier you are, the higher up your profile will be pulled when people are looking for you for a job. Whether, you know, just recently with the Job Hunt DC thing, I wasn't looking for a TV role. I was pretty nervous to get on TV. But honestly, they found me on LinkedIn because I have premium, because of I post regularly, because I don't have as big of a network as William, but I have a, you know, growing network. So they found me and I wasn't even looking for that. And so, you know, you too can be found through increasing your algorithms search or your result standing on the algorithm. Just like Kat did, William has featured publications and images and newsletters and things like that. So I recommend doing that sort of stuff as well. And of course, he is very active on LinkedIn. He also has a Forbes column. If you're interested in more in personal branding, I suggest you check him out. The more that you kind of engage, you can then become a creator on LinkedIn. And that means that you could create newsletters, you could do LinkedIn Live audio, basically like a podcast on LinkedIn. You could do a number of things to kind of showcase your knowledge and your expertise. And of course, who doesn't want an expert, you know, joining their industry or their company? So when you are in LinkedIn, you will also notice that in your feed, there are people popping up. And why are they popping up? Well, it's because they have that all-star profile. They're, you know, thought of as thought leaders. They have great personal branding. And so, you know, like their stuff, share their stuff, comment on their stuff. If you have a company or a connection at a company that you want to connect with, start engaging with them, start networking in those kinds of ways. Because as we said, like at least 3 times during this, the networking piece is really going to get you the jobs. It's whether you're looking for a job or not, jobs and people will come to you. Recruiters will be talking to you and reaching out to you. Companies will be finding you. And so you really want to develop out that leadership, that branding, those connections. The more connections you have, the better. So in summary, LinkedIn, super important, a research tool, definitely a networking tool. Use it for your thought leadership and personal branding. And remember that just increasing your network is really going to be the biggest payoff for you. So it looks like there are a few more questions here. This is my contact info. If you have any questions that we don't get to today, or if you want to connect with me, feel free. Cecilia says, I heard it's good to post content and then it bumps up views and appearance on search results. Yes, true. The more you post, the more you interact with others, the better off you will be, and the higher you will be in your search results for other people and for recruiters. Amy, if we've been at our latest job for a while, how is the best way to reach out to former managers for a recommendation? Oh, well, I mean, if you don't really have if you had a good relationship with them, you probably know whether they're active on LinkedIn or they're not active on LinkedIn. You could reach out, you know, whichever way you know is going to reach them the best. But, you know, email is always a preferred mechanism for a lot of people. If you can reach out over email, just, you know, letting them know that you would really appreciate a recommendation, if it's because you're looking for a new role or it's just to increase your all-star profile. You could even use this webinar and say, hey, I heard that I should be doing these things. And so I'm starting to take LinkedIn more seriously and increase my thought leadership. And I would love to have a recommendation. So you could do even just Holly, what is the difference between followed and connected? Yes. Oh, that's a great question. So you can follow somebody, you can follow a company, you can follow a page. A person can have, I think, pretty much unlimited followers, but you can only be connected to, I think it's something ridiculous, like 200,000 or 400,000 or something. But, and I'm not in any danger of getting there, but connection means that you've actually sent a connection request to somebody and they have approved it. You can follow anybody. They can't really make you disfollow them. So you can go and follow anybody you would like, and then you see their posts, but you're not actually listed as their first degree connection. So think of it as an acquaintance, maybe, or like a reader versus a connection. Ursula, sometimes when I've gone to a firm's website after seeing a posting for a job on LinkedIn, I've noticed that the job is not newly posted, sometimes maybe even a month or so old. Is it still worth applying to? Yes. So if it's on the website, on their company's website, you're saying you've gone to the company website and you've seen the job there, right? And yes. Okay. So if it's on their company website, it's more than likely more accurate than the LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, you pay for a certain number of days. So if a job has been filled after, let's say, you've paid for a 60-day package and it was filled after 30 days, well, it's going to still be there unless somebody manually goes in and takes it down. So the same is pretty much true on a company website as well, but it's more likely to be taken down earlier than the LinkedIn one. So yeah, but there are ghost postings out there that just nobody has taken down. Like I said, the best way to go about any application is to first reach out and contact either the recruiter or some connection that you have at the company. So if you're doing those things first, then you will be in less danger of applying for something that, is no longer valid. Sure. All right. Well, we only have 2 minutes to spare, so I'll ask Lisa if she has any housekeeping notes, or if anybody has any other questions, feel free to put them in or send them to me.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I know my biggest takeaway is, well, first, I would just like to say thank you so much. Bravo. Applause for Lisa for being our wonderful guest speaker today. There are so many takeaways from this for me. Probably the biggest one is that I really need to join premium. I tell people all the time they need to upgrade to premium. I need to do it myself, and be a little more active on LinkedIn. I'm more of a lurker, I must say. I need to up my own game. And if I could actually share my screen, I just have a really quick slide as well that I wanted to share. There we go. All right, so just want to highlight a couple of things that are available to you as students with us. Of course, you can contact Lisa about anything she presented today. She listed her contact information, so she's open to that, or connecting with her on LinkedIn. But also, I'm available for unlimited and free one-on-one career coaching. You're entitled to that as students. We also have an internship program that we offer for our data analytics, data science, and in the spring, our project management students. So that will be coming up. I'm also going to run a January job club for those of you who are job hunting. It will be 4 weeks for the month of January. So for those of you who want group support for job hunting, want to network, share ideas, frustrations, successes, I'll be putting out information about that soon. It will be via Zoom. And our upcoming Wednesday Wisdom programs will be on November 1st and December 6th. November 1st will have to do with using AI in your job search, kind of the pros, cons, cautionary tales, that kind of thing. And December 6th will be about applicant tracking systems, myths, benefits, cautionary tales as well. So that kind of thing. So thank you all for joining us today. And hope to see you at the next Wednesday Wisdom or in a career coaching session with me. So I will also put my contact information in the chat. And thank you again for coming.